Everyone, welcome you all once again. Today we are going to do part 5 of this chapter number 2, acid, bases and salts. Let's do a quick revision of what we had done in the earlier session. So we had learnt about strength of acids and base, how to identify the strength of an acid and a base by using an universal indicator, and we had learnt about pH in our everyday life. So what's an universal indicator? It's a combination of all indicators and it is used to identify the strength of an acid or a base, how strong the given acid is, that can be identified by using an universal indicator. It has got a pH scale on it ranging from 0 to 14. Every number bears a color. Lesser the pH value, stronger the acid. This we have learnt, right? So then we had learnt about your pH in your everyday life, how acid rain affects your ecosystem. Then when you go to bed without brushing your teeth after having your dinner, the bacteria produces some amount of acid and makes your mouth acidic, and this affects your tooth enamel and leads to tooth decay. And you can overcome this problem by brushing your teeth properly with the toothpaste, because this toothpaste contains a chloride salt. Then when you suffer from indigestion due to excess secretion of acid in your stomach, you have to take an antacid which contains this magnesium hydroxide. So it neutralizes the effect of acid that is getting generated. And then you had learnt about this ant bite. Bee sting releases formic acid. When you apply baking soda in the affected area, you get relief from your problem. These things we had done in our last session. In today's session, we are going to learn about salts. Okay. So let's learn about salts. What are salts? Salts are ionic compounds that are formed from the neutralization reaction that takes place between an acid and a base. For example, a well-known example, sodium hydroxide with hydrochloric acid, neutralization reaction takes place and the salt formed is sodium chloride and water. So salts are ionic compounds that are formed as a result of neutralization reaction between an acid and a base. Here this HA stands for your acid, your BOH stands for your base, and your BA stands for that salt that is formed as a result of neutralization reaction, and WHO stands for your H2O. And you know that when acid and a base react with each other, it leads to the formation of salt and water. Okay. Before learning about salts, let's learn how do salts get their name. We had learnt what are salts. Salts are ionic compounds formed as a neutralization reaction between an acid and a base. We have several types of salts like copper sulfate, your magnesium sulfate, your sodium bicarbonate. These are all salts. How are these salts getting their name? So salts are given their names from the acids that take part in the chemical reaction. For always a salt to be formed, there should be a reaction between an hydroxide and an acid. So if the acid taking part in the chemical reaction is an hydrochloric acid, the salt formed will be having a name ending with the word chloride, and the first name will be given from the name of the base. For example, your sodium hydroxide combines with hydrochloric acid. Hydroxide and hydrochloric acid, the salt formed is going to have a name ending with chloride. What chloride? What is the base here? Sodium hydroxide. So sodium chloride will be the name given to the salt formed there, and water is obviously formed when neutralization reaction takes place. Then if there is an hydroxide and if the acid taking part in the chemical reaction is sulfuric acid, then the salt formed will end with the name sulfate. For example, your magnesium hydroxide combines with sulfuric acid to give you a sulfate. What sulfate? The base name should come there. Magnesium hydroxide was the base, so magnesium sulfate will be the salt formed along with water. Next, when an hydroxide combines with nitric acid, the salt formed will have a name ending with nitrate. Example, ammonium hydroxide combines with nitric acid. The salt formed will be nitrate. What nitrate? Ammonium nitrate and water. Then, when an hydroxide combines with carbonic acid, the salt formed will be given a name ending with carbonate. right? For example, I've given here sodium hydroxide combines with carbonic acid, the salt formed will be carbonate. What carbonate? The base name, sodium carbonate. Clear? And water. Understood how the salts are given their name, whether it is a chloride or a sulfate or a nitrate or a carbonate is decided based on the name of the acid that is taking part in the neutralization reaction. If it is hydrochloric acid, a chloride salt will be formed. If it is sulfuric acid, a sulfate salt will be formed. If it is nitric acid, a nitrate salt will be formed. If it is carbonic acid, a carbonate salt will be formed. See, based on the strength of the reacting acid and the base, that is the acid and the base that take part in the chemical reaction leads to the formation of salt and water. No? So, depending on the strength of the acid and base that we take, salts formed can be classified into three categories, that is acidic salt, basic salt and neutral salt. Now, see, an acidic salt will be formed when a strong acid reacts with the weak base, and the salt will be acidic in nature and its pH will be less than 7. So when strong acid and weak base react with each other, a strong salt, that is acidic salt, and water are formed. Example of an acidic salt is your ammonium chloride. Next, basic salt, it's the other way around. Weak acid, strong base, results in the formation of weak salt and water. Example, calcium carbonate. Its pH will be greater than 7. Okay. Neutral salt, reaction between both acid and base should be of equal strength. A strong acid and a strong base results in the formation of neutral salt whose pH will be equal to 7. So your sodium chloride can be given as an example. So in that, the strong acid is your hydrochloric acid and your strong base is your sodium hydroxide. Even your copper sulfate can be given as an example for your acidic salt. Clear? So remember this, acidic salts are salts whose pH will be less than 7 and it is formed due to the reaction between a strong acid and a weak base. Basic salts are those salts which have a pH which is greater than 7 and they are formed due to the reaction between a weak acid and a strong base. Neutral salts are formed due to the reaction between a strong acid and a strong base. Clear? And its pH will be equal to 7. Hope it's clear now. Just now I had learnt about the types of salts, acidic salt, basic salt and neutral salt. Here is an activity given in your textbook to find the pH of the given salt samples. Okay, and I've given you the pH values. I'll read the activity once for you. Collect the following salt samples like sodium chloride, potassium nitrate, aluminium chloride, zinc sulfate, copper sulfate, sodium acetate, sodium carbonate and sodium hydrogen carbonate, that is your sodium bicarbonate. Check their solubility in water, but use only distilled water. Check the action of these solutions on litmus paper and find the pH using a pH paper. Which of the salts are acidic, basic or neutral? Okay, so this is the activity given to identify the acidic salt, basic salt and neutral salts among the given samples. So I've given the pH values of the salts. Sodium chloride has a pH equal to 7, so it's a neutral salt. Aluminium chloride is having pH less than 7, so it's acidic salt. Potassium nitrate again pH equal to 7, neutral salt. Sodium bicarbonate pH greater than 7, so it's a basic salt. Sodium acetate is also a basic salt. So these examples you should know for acidic salt, basic salts and neutral salts. Okay. Next, see, we normally used this common salt or table salt. The chemical name for it is sodium chloride. It's obtained from the sea water by the process of evaporation. The sea water not only contains sodium chloride, it has got various other salts like your potassium nitrate, magnesium chloride. There are many salts found in that. So I've given the samples of certain salts here, examples of few salts. Now sodium chloride is separated out from the combination of so many salts which is available in the sea water. The large crystals that are formed there are said to be rock salt. It is brown in color. It looks brown because of the impurities present in it. Okay, so these are the samples of few salts. But seawater, actually we cannot obtain directly sodium chloride, that the table salt or common salt what we are using for our cooking purposes. Okay, it is separated out from the other salts, and then we get a brown salt which is large in its shape, a crystalline shape, which is called as your rock salt. Clear? Just now we saw that your seawater consists of various salts, and from that sodium chloride is separated out. Okay, you must have seen salt pans. The water is made to evaporate, and from that we get your sodium chloride. The common name for sodium chloride is common salt. It is also known as your table salt, which is used for cooking purposes. And apart from this sodium chloride acts as a raw material for obtaining various other substances or chemicals like sodium hydroxide, bleaching powder, washing powder, baking powder and all. So how are they prepared? We'll be learning that, and their uses also we will learn. So first let's start. How is sodium hydroxide prepared? By using sodium chloride. So for preparing sodium hydroxide, we take a brine solution of the sodium chloride. That is what? Sodium chloride with water, and electric current is passed through it. What happens here? Electrolysis process, that is decomposition reaction takes place here, as a result of which the products obtained are sodium hydroxide, chlorine and hydrogen. And this chlorine gas is collected at the anode, and hydrogen is obtained at the cathode. And this sodium hydroxide is also formed near your cathode region. And this process by which we prepare sodium hydroxide by taking a brine solution is what is called as chloralkali process, because we obtain an alkali, as that is your sodium hydroxide and chlorine, right? And the one speciality that you should know about this is the products that we are obtaining here, like your sodium hydroxide, your chlorine, your hydrogen, are of different uses. Okay, they are used in various other preparations also. See, in your textbook they are given this figure to tell the use of the products that are formed by chloralkali process, uses of hydrogen, chlorine and sodium hydroxide. I have given a separate slide for you to understand the use of chlorine, sodium hydroxide and hydrogen. In this chlorine is used in water treatment plants, like in swimming pools, in water parks. When you go to water parks, you play in that water, right? And the water is chlorinated water. It is a disinfectant actually, which kills the germs so that you don't get infected by it. It is used in CFCs, in preparing pesticides and all. Sodium hydroxide is used for degreasing metals. It's used in the manufacturing of soaps and detergents. It's used for paper making and for making artificial fibers even. Your hydrogen gas, it is used in the preparation or manufacturing of fuel, in the manufacturing of fertilizers, in margarine. You know, margarine, it's a kind of spread which is used for your bread and cakes and all. So for that preparation also we are using hydrogen. So with this I am coming to an end of today's session. In the next session we will meet with preparation of other substances like your baking soda, washing soda and all. And I've attached a worksheet for this session. Please do it. Hope you are solving all the worksheets. So till I meet you in the next class, keep reading. Have a good day. God bless you all.